everybody, and welcome to our first session of the day. Good morning or good night, wherever you're watching us from. And today our session is Vibe Check, Your Future Campus and Classes. My name is Mathilde. I'm a communication student here at HAN from Portugal, and I will be your host for the day. With me, I have two lovely guests, but before I get into that, if you have any questions during the session, anything that pops in your mind, feel free to put them in the chat box, and we'll have a Q&A session at the end of this session. With me, hi guys.
Hi Mathilde.
You can introduce yourselves maybe?
Yes, of course. Hi everyone, my name is Laika and I'm the International Student Recruiter here at the HAN. And I'm half Filipino, half German.
Hi Laika.
And hi, I'm Matteo. I'm from Rome, Italy, and at the HAN, I am an automotive engineering student.
Hey, thank you so much for joining me and helping me get through these questions today. So I think we can kick this off with maybe Matteo.
Yeah.
You can tell us a bit, why did you choose HAN?
Sure. Basically, in my last year of high school, I had a lot of options in front of me when it came to choose the uni, and I knew I wanted to go abroad to have an experience. And with the Brexit situation, I thought that the Netherlands would have been the perfect choice because here everybody speaks English perfectly, so you don't need the language. And it's pretty close to my home country. Mm-hmm. And then once I chose the country, I looked into what I could have been interested in, like program-wise. And out of all the unis I looked into, the HAN seemed like the best choice for what I wanted to do.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the speaking English. It does help a lot coming into a foreign country, having the reassurance that you'll be able to communicate. Can you tell us a bit about what the average week looks for you for a student at HAN?
Let's say that it really depends on which semester you're in and which studying you're doing. Because, for example, in automotive, the first 3 semesters are mostly classes. Therefore, you're going to have your 9 to 10 hours of proper classes with the teachers, then around 3 hours of working classes where you do your homework with your teachers or tutors, plus I would say 4 to 5 hours of projects, so a total of 15-ish hours per week of contact hours with like teachers, love classes. But then of course it also comes the self-studying part because you cannot just go to school and don't study at home. So I would say at the end of the game it's a 50-50 ratio of studying and going to classes.
Yeah, so there's also a very independent part there, right?
Yeah.
So it also has to come from you getting your hours of study.
You're grown up, guys. You're grown up, so you need to like take care of yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And it's good that you mentioned also the classes. There's also some practical and theory, which comes also into being an applied science university. Maybe, like, you can explain the difference, applied sciences, research.
Of course, yes. So in the slide, you can see a better distinction between the applied science university like the HAN and the research university. But the main difference is that an applied science university, just like Matteo mentioned, we really focus on the practical application of the theory. And in research university, you really focus more on the why questions. Why are things the way they are? And you aim to expand theory, expand knowledge through academic research independently.
And Matteo, what would you say is the division between the practice and the theory in applied sciences, so here at HAN?
So the HAN is very practical. Ever since you start your studies, ever since like the first semester, you start doing projects where you apply the knowledge you gain in class. And with the years passing, you always increase your practical work, decreasing the technical classes. For example, from the first 3 semesters, you mainly do classes and some side projects. But with the 3rd and 4th year coming, you have your internship, which is a full semester of working on a practical project into a company, most likely. So yeah, it's very practical.
Yeah, but how many hours of study are we counting per week, more or less?
Again, if you go into like self-studying, I would say it depends. It's very personal, depending on what you study and how you like study. What's your method? But I would say a good guess it's between 15 and 20 hours per week. But can be lower or even higher depending on what you're doing.
Yeah. So you mentioned the self-study, the hours per week that you have to study, the projects, the internship. There's also exams, right?
Yeah.
So maybe, Lucky, you can help me with this one, explaining the grading system, because it can be quite different from other countries.
Yes, so as you rightfully mentioned, there are different forms of assessment. So like Matteo also mentioned, in the first year, there might be more exams. So looking at, for example, open questions or multiple choice questions. But later on, there might be another form of assessment, like through presentations, through papers, reports. And in the slide, you can actually also see the grading system. And a 5.5 is actually a passing score. And yeah, it goes until 10, basically. Yes, and if you get less than 5.5, for instance, and you fail an exam, for example, there is an opportunity to resit this. Perhaps you guys can say a little bit more about this. I don't know if you have any experience at all.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think I do.
I think we all know that. We all know how it works. I mean, it's part of uni failing exams. So everybody's going to fail at least once. So
Yeah, sometimes you have to fail to stand up again. It's
Exactly.
okay if it happens.
it's not how you fail, it's like you stand up back.
Yeah, and the opportunity is there, which is the most important, I would say. So I want to talk about one of the reasons that I came to study at Han, which is the fact that it's so international, and just the Netherlands overall, it's so international. And I wanted the chance to connect with different cultures, different countries. So do you have any stats on how international is Han exactly?
Yes. So indeed, as you rightfully mentioned, Han has a very big international community. At the moment, we have 112 different nationalities studying at the Han. So it is indeed quite a bit. So you probably also see this in your classes, perhaps, or just walking around on campus. But yes, there is a big international community.
Yeah, and I also think besides being such an international community, just the country itself, it's really nice.
That's true. Yes. Yeah.
Especially Amsterdam is the
multicultural.
center of multicultural. I don't know, how did you experience this, your classes, being with so many different countries, so many different cultures?
Yeah, I would say that in my class, the ratio of Dutchies and not international was like 70-30. So 70 people from abroad and 30 coming from the Netherlands. Or even higher sometimes, because in the international programs, a lot of people from abroad come over. I think that also in communication, it's even higher. I know a lot of people coming from abroad doing communication.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool that it ends up being chaotic, but in the best way possible. You just hear from all types of people.
Yeah.
So sometimes the smallest of things, like birthday
Celebrations.
celebrations, how different it is.
Yeah.
It's really cool to be in touch with so many people from all over the world. And I also like the fact that you also have the opportunity to go abroad. So you also have study abroad, right?
Yes, that's
Maybe you
true.
can tell us a bit about that process.
So mostly, at least for most programs, students have the opportunity to go abroad on the third year. And in the slides, you can also see the different countries that you can go to. Currently, we have 325 partner universities that students can choose from. And from these different countries, there's different universities. And basically, the student can choose which university they want to go to, depending on the programs that they offer. Maybe you already went, right, as well, for your study abroad?
Yeah, I did go. I went to the Philippines, which was
Nice.
amazing. Best semester of my life. I really want to go back. And one of the things I was super excited for was, before I applied, seeing the list of countries that we have available was so overwhelming. There's all types of opportunities when I go abroad, so I really enjoyed that. I don't know, have you had that opportunity?
I could have gone abroad, but I chose not to, because what I wanted to do in my semesters, I could have gone somewhere where was here. So I could have gone for my internship and for my minor, and both those activities I chose to do them here because of my interest into what I could have done here. But I know a lot of people that went abroad. I know people that went to the States, Germany, Belgium, even Italy. So there's a lot of opportunities. It's just up to you to choose wherever you want to go, if you want to go, because it's not mandatory.
Yeah. And I like that you mentioned also it doesn't have to necessarily be in the study abroad, but you also have the internship as an opportunity to go to another country and experience yet another environment and cultures.
Yeah.
Sure.
But since you stayed here, maybe we can talk a little bit about your first impression of Arnhem or Nijmegen, whatever you feel more familiar with.
So I've always lived in Arnhem. I've been to Nijmegen a few times, so I'm more practical about Arnhem itself. And I remember coming here from Rome, which is like a really big city. It felt pretty small at the beginning, but Arnhem, it's so warm and welcoming that at the end, it's really, it doesn't feel like a small city. Everybody's so welcoming. Everybody speaks perfectly English again, so you're not gonna have any problem moving around in the city. And the people are kind. They always try to help you, and you really breathe a nice environment walking around. And it's pretty. It's a pretty city, to be honest.
It is a pretty city, and I think both Arnhem and Nijmegen are very cozy and not too touristic, so not very chaotic. It's very easy to feel at home, I think. But Leica, maybe you can talk a bit about the Nijmegen.
Yes, of course. So I think I agree with the both of you. It is indeed, I guess, cozy in a way, but it is both a student city as well, as you rightfully mentioned. So it's not like a big touristic area. The Nijmegen campus, that's where all the labs are, basically. So all of our science programs are over there. So life science, chemistry, master molecular life sciences, and molecular biosciences. All of our other programs in engineering, business, and social work are in Arnhem. But yes, both are fully equipped with all kinds of facilities like canteens, places to study, cafes. So yeah, there's definitely plenty to do in both cities.
Yeah, and good thing you mentioned the campus. Actually, that's what I wanted to talk about now. Our campus is amazing. I really loved when I came here because it's so different from what I experienced in Portugal for universities. Universities here are more the older buildings, which is also beautiful, but here it was just amazing to see how modern everything was and how many studios we have. Or I know there's a garage for automotive students, so maybe we can touch a bit about the campuses.
Yeah, also you can see it in the slides, just to show a little bit how it really looks like. But yeah, Matteo, perhaps you can say more a bit about the Arnhem campus.
Yeah, since I've only been to Nijmegen twice, I can mainly talk about Arnhem since I've been always here. And it's really nice. We have 4 main buildings, and each one of them had its own canteen, its own study rooms. But for example, my favorite spot by far, it's in the engineering building, the R29, where I've always studied. At the ground floor, there's a lot of labs and garages where these automotive students and engineering students can work on them projects. And I remember my face when I walked in the first time, and I saw the cars, all the tools, saw the test benches, and I felt like a kid in a candy shop. It was amazing. Yeah, it was truly beautiful.
Yeah. I think I can relate to that also in the business building, having, for example, a podcast studio, or we have just a bigger studio with computers where you can work on design or presentation rooms. It was really different to have access to all those tools that you might need during the course. But there's also a lot for example, science students, right?
Yes, of course. There's I've been there as well a couple of times, especially in the Laan van Schuit 2 building. That's where most of the English taught programs are. And it's amazing. There's all the things that they do there, the experiments and the labs, the equipment that they have. There's a lot of things going on, and they do a lot of different things. So it's very, very interesting. Yeah.
And a bit on the social side, so we covered, where we're going to have classes. There's great places to work on and work on your projects, so the studios or the garage or the labs. But places to eat, drink, sporting facilities. Do you guys have any experience with that?
So I know that in Arnhem we don't have a specific sport facility. We have a gym in the building of engineering where sometimes volleyball matches and football matches are organized. Then every building has its own canteen, and something very special is that we have our own pub in the middle of the buildings where we can have a drink after classes. But yeah, we have a lot of facilities we can go for.
Yeah.
And in Nijmegen, we also have a joint kind of sporting facility with the Radboud University that Han University students can also make use of, and they have many different types of sports that you can join into. But also here in Arnhem, I know that ISB also organizes, for example, weekly kind of sports like basketball or volleyball, things like this, that students can join in.
Yeah, so sports will not be an issue here, right? So there's a lot of options, a lot of small groups, communities. There's even a running club now in Arnhem, which is really cool. Students getting together to go run around the park.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, there's basketball, volleyball. I know sometimes there's some workshops with dance, which I would love to join one day. And also eat and drink. There's canteens everywhere. We have our pub here in Arnhem as well. So that's great. Do you guys happen to have a favorite spot on campus? Maybe Matteo, do you have anything?
Yeah, by far, as I said, the garage. It's basically where I spent most of my time in my second and third year. I was there for sometimes 16 hours a day. Whoa. Really endless days. Yeah, but I was loving it so much that it wasn't feeling tiring. It was such a beautiful experience that it was so teaching for me. And I loved it so much that I was there for hours and hours without feeling it. So that's by far my favorite spot. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite spot like it? I know you work here. I know it's a different story, but maybe.
I like the hangar.
Okay.
It's a nice cafe, and you can also sit there, have a coffee, and work a little bit. So that's nice.
The hangar is quite nice. It's for those who know, it's a small cafe here in the Arnhem campus. It's cozy. It's a cozy place to be in.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I think so far we covered a lot. We covered the classes, applied sciences, the campus. Maybe we can go a bit into the supports given for students. I think Matteo can also relate to this. I can, for sure. It can be very overwhelming, moving abroad for the first time, away from your parents, into a new country, moving into a room that you're not used to and going to a new university. Like maybe you can help me with this.
Yeah.
What do we have to help with the well-being for students?
So there are different options, but actually the first point of contact for all students is the student career coach. And for anything academically related or personally related that you're going through, you can just speak to them, reach out to them, and they can help you. They can forward you, for example, if you really need specific type of help, and they will forward you to somebody. Or if you need some academic help in studying, for example, then they can also help you out on that. So I think it's really important to emphasize that if there's any kind of problems or if you're facing any type of personal issues, to go to your student career coach, and they're always there to help you.
Yeah. Have you had any experience with any of this support?
Yeah, I remember when it was the first time COVID came in 2019, 2020. I was here, it was my first year, and my home country was the first one going on into lockdown. So I was kind of stuck here, couldn't go back home. Everything was like pretty stressful for me. So my SCC, my career coach, was really close to me, and he gave me a lot of support, both physical like on Teams because we couldn't meet, and also like giving me support materials. So it's something really nice because whenever you have struggles, you can always go and talk to somebody.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think if you feel overwhelmed, either it's because of the landing, it's because of just being abroad, or even just regarding university, you know, it's normal. You got out of high school, it's your first experience with this education. My career coach has always been my point of reference, you know, if I need advice, if I just need to talk to somebody. I definitely always felt supported. And in terms of internship or student jobs, part-time jobs, do we offer any guidance?
Yeah, so I think for this one, the international office is a good place to start. They host a lot of workshops, for example, like a workshop on cycling in the Netherlands, but also finding a part-time job. How does it work with the taxes here, with the payment and things like this? So they host these workshops regularly. But yeah, for those students that are interested, they should definitely check out IO. Other than that, for the internship, there is a academic supervisor, but also a study and placement abroad coach that you can reach out to. But like I said, there's also the student career coach that students can reach out to if they need any help with this. But specifically for the study abroad, for example, there is the study and placement abroad coach. And for your thesis, there's also the academic supervisor that you will be assigned to.
Yeah, and I also think besides having all actual staff to help you, we always have also the other students, right? So you'll also meet not only people from your year or Dutch people who maybe also know a little bit more than you will. You'll also have students from other years older than you did, can help you and guide you through whatever you need guidance for.
Yeah.
And I see this a lot, especially if you join communities or student associations. I don't know, have you had any experience with student associations so far?
Yeah, of course. I know two of them here in Arnhem, the ISA, the international one, and the Amoras. They are both in the engineering building, I believe, here in Arnhem. And even though I've never been a member of them, I always join their events. Because, for example, the ISA organizes movie nights, dinners from different cultures. They had an Indian dinner a few days ago. And also they organize parties where we all attend even though we're not always members. So yeah, even though I've not been a member of them, of the things officially, I've always joined their activities, which are really nice.
Yeah, I like that it's open for everybody. You don't need to be so active, you don't need to come every week, but whenever you need to, it is there. We have a lot of associations and communities as well here. And the community happens to be in the business building, but it is open to everyone to join. Yeah. We have wine nights, we have movie nights, we have some dinners just to bond. So yeah, I really like that. Yeah. Okay, guys, thank you so much for going through my questions with me. I think that was it for this one. Right now, if anything else popped in your mind, if you have any questions that we have not answered yet, feel free to put them in the chat box, and Laika and Matteo will help me go through them right now.
Yeah.
I see we already have the first question. How are classes arranged?
Is it for me?
We can both.
Yeah.
You can both answer. Yeah, I think maybe you can start. Do you know anything about?
Yeah, I know that. So basically, the classes are divided into periods. So each year has 2 semesters, and each semester has 2 periods of classes, and you get your schedule per period. And usually, you have week classes every day, maybe 3 days a week, 4 days a week, or 5 days a week. And it's always not a full day. You have time to go to the gym, to study at home. So it's always max 3 classes per day, no more usually. And again, it comes out every semester, like every period. So you know the classes for the next 2 months. and they can be divided in groups. For example, if a class is made of 30 people, there's 10 groups of there's groups for like personal sessions with their teachers. But it really depends on, again, your study, because, for example, for practical projects, you have different schedules than your classes. But yeah.
Yeah,
Hope
I
it's
think there's a lot of factors into this. So the year you're in and the course you're in, it's always going to vary a lot. Because some courses, then you have the mandatory study abroad and the internships. Some courses maybe it'll be differently. You have specializations. So it differs a lot. I don't know if you have any extra info on this.
Yeah, I think what you exactly said is correct. So it depends if you're a master, bachelor student, which year you're in, indeed. But I think in the first year, definitely there will be more classes, of course. So there will also be more like self-study. So you will need to definitely, aside from just, classes, which may not take the entire day, you will probably need the rest of the day to also go through that material again, prepare for the next day. Perhaps you have some group work that you need to do aside from just going to classes. So that's definitely something to take into account.
Yeah, 100%. I see we have another question. Can you choose classes specifically the time they start? So I'm guessing, can you kind of make your own schedule?
No.
Okay.
I wish you could.
Very straightforward answer.
You kind of can choose your classes, based on your specialization. So, for example, in automotive, it works that in the second semester of the second year, you go into your subjects, your specialization, and there you can choose which field you want to specialize in. But as of like schedule timing, start of classes, no, you really have no power into it.
Yeah, I definitely think for some courses, you'll have the power to choose some electives, so some classes. Not every year, but there will be a point where you have that opportunity. But even so, you will not be changing the schedule. So the schedules are made. That's fixed. You got to just work around that and make the time management.
You have to be lucky to get a nice one.
Yeah, you have. It's a bit of luck here, but overall, I'd say I've never had a bad schedule.
Me neither.
I think everything is pretty balanced. Also because you have some self-study hours. Yeah, it's a pretty balanced lifestyle during the week.
Also because classes start at 9, so it's not super early in the morning.
Yeah, and then you have more time also. If you want to study, if you have a part-time job, I think it's very doable. Next, where and when did you buy study materials?
So I bought most of my books and materials in the first year because we use the same books because they are really big books, so we use them for like different subjects. But you buy them online or in campus. You can also there's a shop where you can buy some books, or you can perhaps borrow them from the library.
Yeah.
And nowadays it's more it happens more often that you can find your materials online. So, for example, I just had an exam where the book was a PDF online. I just printed out.
Yeah, I think it's very accessible. You can use Marketplaat, which is the online. You have a lot of secondhand books, and you have everything in secondhand. But you can definitely find school books there. You can also ask older students if they have any used books they don't need anymore. So it's definitely easy, even if you're already here, to find them. I don't think it's something that you need a lot of time to take care of.
No, it's pretty easy.
Yeah. Okay, we have one more question. How long are the classes?
Classes itself last 90 minutes. So the hour, it's 1 hour and a half, actually. They might be just 1 hour, they might be 2 hours, 3 hours. Usually there's just 1 hour, so 1.5 hours long.
Yeah.
But it really depends. Usually it's between 1 and 3 hours.
Yeah. Also, if you have a project.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it depends, right? If it's a lecture or if it's a project.
Yeah, it depends a lot. But regardless if it's a lecture or a project, what I like, and I know it's not common everywhere, is teachers are very
Open.
Yeah, you can, I don't know, if you need to go grab, I don't know, water, or if you feel bad you need some food, or just use the bathroom, you're free to just go and come back. And yeah, it's not, you're stuck there.
Yeah, of course not.
I know, yeah.
It's not a prison.
Yeah, exactly. You're free to go if you need to. That's all right. Do you have language courses in the first year?
Yes. I don't know which language specifically, but there is a social Dutch course for those that are, interested in learning Dutch. Some basic Dutch, for example. It is organized by the International Office, and it is also on a regular basis. The only thing is that you do need to register for it, and the International Office will be sending an email about it, and you would then need to register. And it's they have a maximum. So if you're really interested, I would really suggest to keep an eye out on it and register yourself as early as possible if you want to do it.
Yeah. Have you taken any classes?
I
Matteo?
haven't. I got all the emails to like subscribe for the courses, but I chose not to. First of all, because I think that, like, again, in the Netherlands, everybody speaks English perfectly, so I didn't feel the need of studying it. But to be honest, we can both agree that living here, you pick up words, you kind of learn a language by living here. Going to the supermarket, going through school, you learn the basics to live here.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, you don't need Dutch to live here, so
Yeah.
it's really up to you. But it's a nice opportunity to learn Dutch. Going back, maybe I would go to classes.
Yeah. I definitely think if you plan to stay here after you graduate, it's always nice to live in a country where you speak the language, regardless if people speak well English or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also hard to live in a place for 4 years and not pick up sentences here and there or some words.
Yeah.
Usually you start with the bad ones, but you do pick up good stuff along the way as well.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's true. Okay, I think we have time for one more question. How is the relation between students and teachers?
Well, it's really good. Actually, this was really surprising for me because, for example, where I come from in Italy, when you go to uni, teachers are really seen like God, or you have to be always, you have to be, of course, respectful to them, and you have to always be scared of asking something. Here, instead, we are much closer. You can always go to their office and ask for them for questions. They are super willing to help you in any way they can. And so I would say it's a really nice relationship with the professors because they are really close to you. You can always rely on them.
Yeah, it's very casual, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, which is something I was also not expecting, but I also really appreciate, because I think if you're having a hard time, or if you have any questions, or if you feel bad or feel a bit left behind for some reason, you're much more at ease going to the teachers and asking for help as well.
Yeah.
So I definitely think it helps.
And most of them are professionals, so they can talk based on their experience.
Yeah.
And for example, in automotive, all of them are car enthusiasts. So it's pretty common to have like long talks about our passion.
Yeah.
I think they try to nurture a more caring and open, relationship with all of their students to essentially also lead you to success.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I think, their end goal for all of you, right?
Yeah.
So it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, you get some connections already as soon as you enter, which is nice. I definitely agree. I think that's it. We don't have a lot of time for any more questions. Thank you guys so much for joining me today and for helping me go through all of this and answer the Q&A. Just a quick summary of what we went through on this session. So HAN is the University of Applied Sciences, which means it's very big on hands-on learning. So if you're a hands-on type of learner, then this is definitely the place for you. We have great campus facilities. You have sports facilities. You have great places to eat and drink and just chill with your friends, or to study if that's what you need. And you have support when needed. We know it's very overwhelming coming from another country, going to university far away from your parents and your childhood friends, but you will have support and you won't be alone. So thank you so much for joining. We'll have the next session in 30 minutes and is the ultimate guide to your admission and visa. So please do join if you have any questions regarding admission, application, and the visa. If not, we do hope to see you next year here on campus. So thank you and see you next time.